operating on a frequency of 52 megacycles by authority of the Federal Communications Commission. A test program follows.
For you who've been trained technically, I need hardly say that there's still a number of problems to solve. I guess you know them as well as anybody knows them. But I think we've proceeded far enough to justify the statement, at least, that these technical problems are not insurmountable.
Oh, we don't get to see.
And get reaping.
My name is
How's
Robert
this?
Tobik-Shari. I'm
Games
from
and-
Cant, the Urchins, and I'm the blue player. And in the top 4, I will be playing the decider match. So I was really upset hearing the KOTE, the captain loss, because it should be our favorite in my opinion. Maybe around the coin toss, but I would say it's our matchup to win. And our matchup to lose, and we managed to lose that matchup. Also, the Frano one was favorite or coin toss, so I felt like we should win the semi-final. But with the tight colors, my matchup is slightly doomed because it's the same matchup as in the top 8, where you have the Dark Ember Vault, like great artifacts, the quantity over quality board, like creatures. So the board control is theirs. They capture a lot of amber, and I have only 3 poison ways to control the board. And with Eton Jar, it can be even impossible to control the board, so it's hard. And I was grateful to win the top 8 matchup, and I felt like I've just punished the mistake. If you can see the vote, playing Quenching of Lux in that specific moment helped me a lot. Without the Quenching of Lux played by the Team SAS, I would have lost the game. So in this matchup, as in the previous one, I feel like a huge underdog, and I'm just looking for a play to give the opportunity to the opponents to make a mistake and then punish the mistake. Without the mistake, I feel like I should be losing the game every time. So the practice matches were like back and forth. I was looking for the lines to play with a specific set of cards to induce the mistake, and I've managed to do so on great players. So it's not, sometimes it's not obvious. That the correct plays are not so obvious. So if the players will play too fast, won't just think through the turn and be careful and patient, they can give me a small window of opportunity to just rush the amber out, not by not playing creatures unless it's the untamed ones with huge generation, and like good control the weaks. Life words can change up the game. Ember Imp and Teliga also really important in this matchup. So there are some lines when I can be tricky and win the game, but on the top level I should be losing this matchup. So there's a specific scenario when they have a Dark Ember Vault and the Etan's Jar on my Poison Wave. Namely, I have only one Poltergeist, so I can only just destroy one of those artifacts. And I'm just choosing between bad and worse, because just destroying Etan's Jar makes me play 3 Poison Waves in my deck. But also they have a double Fandangle, which makes them a creature just come to play ready basically every time, because without the poison wave I can't get through them. But with Dark Ember Bot there are 5 powers, so basically I need all 3 my poison waves, which is rather rare. So even though I will destroy the Etan's Jar, the Dark Ember Vault probably stops me from killing those creatures, and especially the Selafiost, which especially with Dark Ember Vaults being 6 power, my too much to protect doesn't work. My Nerve Blast doesn't work. So the key cards in this matchup are definitely the Fandangles and Selafiost, as well as just both artifacts with Itanjar and the Dark Ember Bolt to be played, right? Yeah, so it's gonna be a tough matchup. I feel like it's for them to lose. So I hope to trick them.
So my name is Eric, aka Justice Blinded. I'm a member of Team Knowledge is Power, KIP. We have, well, just going back a little bit. I've been in competitive Keyforge for as long as competitive Keyforge has existed. I went to the first Vault Tour in Seattle. I was part of I was one of the founding members of Team SAS after that Vault. Met a bunch of cool people there that I'm still friends with. And shortly, flash forward many years, or feels like many years. Gosh, the last year has been like 10 in actual, in apparent years, but not in actual years. But in flash forward many months, myself, Grant, and Jason left Team SAS to form Team Knowledge is Power. We wanted to kind of do our own thing. We're still friends with all the guys at Team SAS. They're good people. We just kind of wanted to do our own thing, so we created our own team. We got Jared, and then we recently added Ed, who played in a previous match, and I talked a little bit about Ed. And that's how we kind of got Knowledge is Power. We ran Shadow Worlds last year. Yeah, it is last year, which was really fun. But now we're glad to be able to be on the competing side. We did not compete in Shadow Worlds because we wanted to remain impartial. But we're happy to be on the competitive scene again, and this is a great showcase for that. In terms of the deck that I'm playing, so I'm playing Q Fink La Agile. Fink, as we call it, it's similar to Sad Panda, but it has a couple critical differences. So Fink is very, very toolboxy. I think I used that term when describing Sad Panda, but the things that Fink does, it has a lot of burst in it, right? If you can get down a Dark Amber, if you can get down Vault quickly, you can draw a bunch of cards with the mutants. It has ways to get Vault, like it's got an Orb, which is really good. It's got Jar, which is probably, in my opinion, the best card in Keyforge. You can make an argument for maybe 2 or 3 cards, but I think Jar is the best card in Keyforge. It's so versatile. It serves as the main source of artifact control when you need artifact control. It's got other control aspects in Disc, a couple Marks of Disc, a couple in Furnace. Basically, if Fink can keep and hold a board, it rarely loses games. Now, that's not a given in all matchups. In most matchups, if you can keep and hold the board with Fink, you'll win games. Our path through the top cut has been, I was going to say brutal, and brutal just in terms of the level of competition. I mean, when the bracket came out, I remember looking at it and thinking, okay, well, we have a road ahead of us if we want to make the finals and win this tournament, because we've had to go through some very, very tough teams. I mean, they're all tough teams in the top cut, but we had to play. First round, we played a tough team from France, the Starship Looters. Second round, we played our old compatriots from Team SAS. I had to play Pink Fraud with Fink. That was the deciding game in the last round. That was a very tough matchup. Dunk playing Pink Fraud. I mean, like that's an iconic situation to deal with, but I was able to just eke it out there. So I was very fortunate to do that. Fink had just enough tools to deal with all the fraud stuff and made a couple plays at the end there. And now we're up against Can't Touch This, which is another strong team. I mean, there are no weak spots in the top cut of this tournament for sure, but this is a tough matchup. In terms of the individual matchup that I have going into this, our testing shows that I should be fairly well favored in this match. That doesn't mean it's a guarantee by any means. I still have to play correctly. If my opponent draws extraordinarily well and starts out a game with all sorts of discards, they board an Ember Imp and then Life Ward, and I have like no answers in hand. There is a window at the beginning of the game where they can make it very difficult or downright impossible to win if they draw exceptionally well and lock down in Disc at the beginning. If I'm able to get a board in this match, though, their board clears are virtually non-existent. It's basically just 3 poison waves and out. So if I can land Dark Amber Vault on the board, which in most matches, the most important part of Dark Amber Vault is the card draw that you get off playing mutants and drawing cards and increasing the efficiency. In this matchup, the most important part of Dark Amber Vault is actually the power increase. Because they don't have a lot of ways to remove my creatures outside of poison waves, pumping the whole board for, not the whole board, but most of the board for two extra power is a massive deal, especially since I have some creature-based Amber control. So I should be a favorite in this matchup, but it's Keyforge. Anything is possible, and there's certainly lines that can produce a lot more difficult games for me. So, but this is Fink is a deck that kind of grinds you to death. It gets a board lead. It leans on you until the air is squeezed out of your deck's lungs, metaphorically speaking, and then it wins that way. So if I'm winning before turn 12 to 15, something has gone very weird. But I would expect if I win this game, that'll be the window in which I win it, somewhere between 12 and 15, just because of the nature of the interaction. But should be a fun matchup. But looking forward to it. Just excited to play in competitive Keyforge games that quote unquote matter. It's been a while since I've been in one of these, so being the deciding match in a semifinal potentially as the third game is fun. I'm looking forward to it.
Okay, so we are back and we'll be looking at the blue player stacks. So, Robert, you are our blue player. So, on your side, we are seeing your deck. You will be playing Chytrymarek Przegryw. And on the other side, we see Q Fing La Aguil. You have played this matchup many times, and I believe you were a little bit frustrated by your odds here. Could you say something about it?
Yeah, so basically the deck choice with the blue player in our team was to punch, KOTE rush, and basically each rush deck without like a huge board. And the most I was the most afraid about the mass mutation, just quantity over quality, huge creature decks. And because in my deck there is lack of board control, it's easy to say that the triple poison wave is the only thing I have, and this matchup was us maybe a little bit more frustrated at the top 8, where there was basically the same style of deck against me. And here we see the Dark Ember Vault, 8 mutants, so I have only one Poltergeist. And normally I will just destroy the Dark Ember Vault, I'll be happy. But also there is an Eaten Jar that just targets my triple poison wave and I can't destroy the board. So it's many times I'm in some sort of a zugzwang when I need to decide do I destroy the Eaten Jar or the Dark Ember Vault, and both are really bad for me because the Ember Vault buffs up double Fandangos and Salafios, so my double TMTP and all this on the steel is basically turned off, as well as Fandango making all those creatures come into play ready is really frustrating. Um, uh, Also, really important thing here is also double mark of this locking me into untamed, or like in the turn I don't want to play the house and I want to control something, would be also really painful. So this deck should beat me probably every time. Like the strategy after the prep was to like play the problematic cards like Telica, like Ember Imp, and ask for the answers first, and try to rush with Untamed some sort of Amber and get into the position with 2 keys, because each game I played in the prep I was able to get into the 2 keys. There were some games I won, most of them I lost, because I need to trick the opponent. I need to like induce the mistake. So sometimes living on the board, the Snufflegator makes me being able to destroy the Key Frog while playing like the Marmuk and being able to generate and rush for the third one, for the third key. It's really tough here, because also controlling the board is hard with the Mushroom of the View, because even if I play the Poison Wave set up to draw both other Poison Wave, he just can heal the damage dealt. And basically getting the Dark Ember Vault or Eaten Jar is even easier with the Orb of Wonder, and sometimes the orb can just be for the Markadis or the Green Reminders. Infernos can fetch like pixies and stuff, like the control the weeks I really need. So this matchup is really tough. I should be losing this matchup because even though if I can rush 2 keys, he should be able to stop me then. Um, and I will just try to disrupt the opponent as much as I can. Basically, try to get the winning line, try to confuse him as much, and induce the mistake. And if he will give me a small window, then I will be prepared, because in such an underdog matchup, you need to like look for the lines and opportunities, and I've got some prepared. Hopefully, the draw will be good, because this matchup is basically I need to have a good draw and he needs to have like a bad draw, as well as I need to play the draw perfectly, because if I cannot use all resources possible, it probably won't be enough.
Yeah, that's a shame we cannot spectate this game because it will be recorded by All for One. So I would love to see how it goes, and I won't add anything here because that's pretty all we could say about this matchup. It's really hard for us. So I would give us 10%, maybe 5%. What do you think?
Yeah, so I've actually managed to trick good players more than I probably should have, with, like, training in this matchup. So I feel like 10% is fair. One out of 10 games, I should be winning, because there are some lines, but it's
Yep.
definitely going to be an uphill battle.
Yep. Okay, so let's watch that game.
Right, guys. So we should be back.
No, I should be here. And boom. Look at this opening hand from Roderick. He said Teal'c was going to be a crucial part of this game. And in his opening hand, right there, Teal'c drops it. And JB has got no immediate answer for Teal'c. We also see a Life Ward, a Poltergeist. Poltergeist is going to be a huge answer. Markidis putting him back into this. And that you're putting back into Untamed. And that just creates a huge web where he's able to immediately get 3 creatures down, reap up to 3, drops the Dust Pixie, and yeah, JB's in a bad position. No spot removal, drops the Dark Amber Vault, gets the Hospital. Dark Amber Vault would be really powerful here because there's 2 mutants in hand, which is draw power. But the issue is this Poltergeist is just going to wipe it out. Gets up to 6. Yep. Turn 3, check for the first key. Has the Tentacus down as well, so can't even go into Dis and use the Dominator Bubble. Just has to go into Untamed, bite the bullet, and give Rob all this amber. Discards the Key Frog. Doesn't want to give any more amber, but gets the first key and is sat with 2 amber. Tentacus kills that surface. Pit Demon gets rid of Fandangle. Plays Control the Weak, forcing back into Untamed. Discards the Arise. And doesn't pop the Life Ward. Interesting choice. Now, we have got some removal here. The Lost in the Woods is going to finally deal with Teal'c. Gets rid of the Tentacus as well, opening up the options here. Rob, going into Shadows, excellent choice. Your opponent's only got 2 amber. Get yourself right back up to 6. Drop in the Dodger as well. And possibly, uses the Life Ward to make sure that he can't stop the 6 amber. And now look at this hand from Rob. Teal'c is back. Double Hunting Witch. Mamook. Nocturnal
Hand that you'd
Maneuver.
love. Your kind of hand.
Yeah, this is a hand that's absolutely insane. The Infernus cannot be dropped, but has been able to keep Rob off the key with thanks to the Waking Nightmare, because it's been able to stop Rob from forging, and the Wall of the Damned was able to take out Dodger. But here comes Hunting Witch, second Hunting Witch, Mamook for 2 amber, Teal'c for 2 amber, Reap with the Dust Pixie. Gonna sit there on 12 amber and basically say, yeah, what are you gonna do with it? And with the Teal'c down, every creature that JB plays here is just more fuel for Rob.
Just that when you opponent plays
it's the anti-Hunting Witch. Every time your opponent plays a creature, you gain 1. So Fandango comes down to capture 2, but it gives 1 to Rob. Second Fandango comes down, which gives 1 to Rob. Key Frog comes down, which gives 1 to Rob. And it's just, that's just as Blind said. This is an absurd board. And it is board certified absurd. Almost impossible for Rob to have drawn better here.
We're on turn 7, and Rob is sat with 11 amber, and JB has not been able to get any keys here.
Failed to knock a couple of amber off. I don't see how.
JB knows there's no way out here. This was the matchup that Can't Touch This was the most worried about, and unfortunately, Rob that Teal'ca needs a back brace. It carried the entire game. Can't Touch This take the win against Knowledge's Power in a brutal third game. That moment when you can concede around turn 3-4. Exactly, Julian. Teal'ca doing beautiful work, and we're on a black screen now.
There's no post-game interview.
No, the post-game interviews were a little bit rushed. Oh, and that is not me. That is the Top Cut channel. Okay.
I'm used